Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Port Charles never truly slept, but on this particular Tuesday, February 24, the air itself felt charged, like the city was bracing for something it couldn't quite name. Power plays were shifting, alliances were tightening, secrets were inching dangerously close to exposure. And at the center of it all, as always, was Sonny Corinthos. Jordan Ashford stood tall in the PCPD interrogation room, her gaze sharp and unyielding as she studied ADA Justine Turner. The fluorescent lights overhead buzzed faintly, but neither woman seemed distracted. Jordan had seen powerful men fall because of blurred lines. She wasn't about to let history repeat itself, especially not with Sonny. "Tell me something," Jordan said evenly. "Are you prosecuting Sonny Corinthos or are you falling for him?" Justine didn't flinch, though her jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "My personal life has nothing to do with my job." "That's where you're wrong," Jordan countered. "If evidence comes in tomorrow that puts Sonny in handcuffs, are you prepared to move forward without hesitation?" Justine held her ground. "I always follow the evidence." Jordan folded her arms. "Sonny doesn't separate business from personal. If you think he won't turn on you the second you cross him, you're fooling yourself." The warning lingered in the air. Jordan wasn't speaking out of jealousy or suspicion for sport. She understood Sonny's orbit, how it pulled people in, how it blurred loyalties. And if Justine lost her objectivity, it wouldn't just hurt her career, it could compromise everything. Meanwhile, across town at Pizzolo, Sonny sat with Ric Lansing, a half-finished espresso in front of him. Ric's eyes narrowed as Sonny spoke about Justine. "She's different," Sonny insisted. "She understands the lines." Ric let out a quiet scoff. "There are no lines with an ADA and a mob boss." Sonny's expression darkened. "I'm not running some back alley operation anymore." Ric leaned in slightly. "That kiss, you think it didn't mean anything to her, or worse, that it didn't mean anything strategically?" Sonny's jaw flexed. "You think she's playing me?" "I think Justine Turner didn't get where she is by being naive," Ric replied calmly. "And if she's letting you think you're in control, that should worry you." Sonny didn't like the implication. He believed he saw every angle, he believed he was 10 steps ahead, but the unsettling truth was this: Justine likely believed the same thing. At General Hospital, tension simmered in quieter but no less dangerous ways. Lucas Jones closed the door to Britt Westbourne's office behind him, his expression heavy with the burden of what he'd learned. "Marco told me," Lucas said without preamble. Britt froze. "Told you what?" "About Jenz Sidwell, about the project, about the medication." Color drained from her face. "You weren't supposed to know." "I wasn't supposed to find out you're being blackmailed into cooperating with a madman," Lucas shot back. Britt paced, her composure cracking. "Sidwell controls my access. If I don't comply, I lose everything." "Then we expose him." "You don't know what you're saying," she whispered. "You don't know how far this goes." Lucas stepped closer. "Then tell me." Britt hesitated. The project wasn't just some minor scheme, it involved powerful players, possibly international ones. Sidwell wasn't acting alone, there was a partner, someone in the shadows. "Move out of Wyndemere," Britt urged desperately. "You cannot stay under that roof." "I'm not leaving you there," Lucas replied firmly. "We free you together." The look in his eyes made it clear he wasn't bluffing. Elsewhere, Jason Morgan stepped into Jack Brennan's office, his presence filling the space with silent intensity. "You're worried about Josslyn," Jason said bluntly. Brennan exhaled. "Cullum's circling." Jason's expression hardened. "He went to Carly's place." "I know," Brennan replied. "He's testing boundaries." What Brennan didn't know, what Jason himself was only beginning to piece together, was that Josslyn had already crossed into dangerous territory. Her night at Wyndemere with Ross Cullum had been reckless, risky, potentially explosive. Jason didn't like unknown variables, and right now Cullum was one giant unknown. At Wyndemere itself, Jenz Sidwell paced like a caged predator as Marco Rio stood before him. "Pascal believes Lucas overheard something," Sidwell said coldly. Marco kept his tone steady. "Lucas doesn't know anything actionable." Sidwell's eyes narrowed. "You're certain?" "He's still in the dark." But Sidwell didn't look convinced. And when Lucas returned later that evening, the tension in the grand halls of Wyndemere was suffocating. Sidwell's gaze pinned him in place. We need to talk, Sidwell said quietly. Lucas felt it, the weight of scrutiny, the suspicion tightening around him. He had information now, crucial information, maybe about the project, maybe about the partner behind the scenes, maybe even about Josslyn's covert ties to the WSB. He just had to survive long enough to use it. At the Brown Dog Bar, the atmosphere was lighter, but no less complicated. Nathan West watched Lulu Spencer carefully as he delivered the news. Maxie chose Spinelli. Lulu blinked. She what? Nathan nodded. It's done. A flicker of something, relief, hope, crossed his face. Maybe that means we get another chance. Lulu hesitated. Her heart had been through enough chaos. Nathan. We don't have to announce it to the world, he added quickly. We could just see where it goes. Lulu looked at him, really looked at him, the man who had always been steady, loyal, safe. I'm scared, she admitted. Me too, Nathan said softly, but maybe scared doesn't mean wrong. Across town, Brooklyn Quartermain confronted Harrison Chase in their living room. You checked the keys, she accused. Chase didn't deny it. I had to know. You went to Drew's door. I didn't plant anything, Chase insisted. This is about justice. Brooklyn's frustration spilled over. And what about our family, our adoption, your badge? Chase looked torn. He had sworn to uphold the law, but he had also sworn to build a life with her. I can't ignore wrongdoing, he said quietly. And I can't ignore the fact that you could lose everything, Brooklyn shot back. The weight of the choice hung heavy between them. Back at GH, Ross Cullum finally crossed paths with Jason Morgan in a hallway that suddenly felt too small for the two of them. Cullum's smile was thin. We should talk. Jason didn't blink. Let's. Cullum began asking questions about Sonny, about Carly, about Josslyn. It wasn't just curiosity, it was strategic probing. Jason listened carefully, measuring every word, every shift in tone. Cullum wasn't just making waves, he was building something. And whatever it was, Port Charles wasn't ready for it. The storm was gathering. And it was only the beginnings. Night fell heavier over Port Charles, and the cracks beneath the surface began to widen. Sonny stood alone on the balcony of his penthouse, the city lights reflecting in his dark eyes. Ric's warning echoed in his mind. Justine wasn't naive, she was ambitious, calculating. But so was he. What Sonny didn't fully account for was how emotions complicated strategy. His connection to Justine wasn't entirely transactional, that made it dangerous. Across town, Justine stared at her reflection in the mirror. Jordan's words lingered. Could she prosecute Sonny if necessary? The truth unsettled her. At GH, Britt reviewed encrypted files she'd accessed through Sidwell's network. The project was larger than she had realized, biomedical research with military applications, and the secret partner. The initials were cryptic, but one name kept surfacing in whispers. Cullum. Lucas entered quietly. You found something. She nodded grimly. This isn't just blackmail, this is international leverage. Then we burn it down, Lucas said. You don't burn down a machine this big, Britt replied. You dismantle it piece by piece. Meanwhile, Jason concluded his tense exchange with Cullum. You're sniffing around my family, Jason said flatly. Cullum's smile didn't reach his eyes. I'm just asking questions. Ask someone else. But Cullum had already seen enough. He knew where the pressure points were, Carly, Josslyn, even Sonny. At the Brown Dog Bar, Lulu finally reached across the table and took Nathan's hand. Okay, she whispered, we try. Nathan's relief was immediate, but both of them knew the road ahead wouldn't be simple. At the Quartermain mansion, Brooklyn stood firm. If you lose your job, Chase, we lose our chance to adopt. Chase swallowed hard. I'll be careful. Careful isn't enough, she said. Choose us. For the first time, Chase looked unsure of what that meant. At Wyndemere, Sidwell made a quiet phone call. Yes, he said smoothly, it's progressing. A pause. Cullum is proving useful. Lucas overheard just enough to confirm his suspicions. The threads were connecting. Cullum, Sidwell, the project. And possibly even the WSB. Jason returned to Carly's house later that night. "He's escalating," Jason warned. Carly's protective instincts flared. "He came into my home. And he'll do worse if we don't stay ahead." What none of them realized was how many moves were already in motion. Jordan reopened her file on Justine Turner, unease settling deep in her gut. Ric revisited old cases tied to Sonny, searching for leverage. Britt prepared to risk everything to expose Sidwell. Lucas committed himself to freeing her. Nathan and Lulu stepped cautiously toward something new. Chase stood at a crossroads between badge and family. And in the shadows, Ross Cullum watched. He wasn't just making waves. He was orchestrating them. Port Charles had weathered mob wars, federal crackdowns, betrayals, and heartbreaks, but this convergence, personal and political, romantic and criminal, felt different. Because this time, everyone believed they were in control. And that was precisely what made it so dangerous. The lines between love and leverage were blurring. The lines between justice and loyalty were dissolving. And the storm was no longer gathering. It had arrived.